Also in the House, Congressman Mike Waltz is now referring to the squad as the Hamas caucus. Joining us now with more is that Florida Congressman Mike Waltz, along with former acting director of National Intelligence Ambassador Rick Grenell. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here. Ambassador, I want to start with you because I want to talk about, I mean, it's just stunning the difference in approach that Biden takes to the Keystone Pipeline versus what the Russians are doing, and this free pass that he evidently has given him. You're being the ambassador, you're very close to this. Explain to the people at home why this matters and what in the world is going on with Joe Biden.
Well, first of all, let's be very clear that the United States is fine with Nord Stream 1. It's Nord Stream 2 that we feel goes too far, too much Russian energy going into Europe. What our position is, and by the way, it's the European Parliament's position, is that energy should be diversified. It should not be coming from one source. What the Germans have done is strike a deal with the Russians to have even more energy coming in through Germany. What makes us very uncomfortable about that is the leverage that the Russians get. Now remember, the Obama-Biden administration allowed the Russians to redo the borders of Europe when the Russians grabbed Crimea. So they are the ones who allowed this, I would say, emergency of redefining borders within Europe. And then let's also remember that Nord Stream 2 was planned and started under the Obama administration, the Obama-Biden administration. The Trump administration, we were very pleased. We used sanctions, we used diplomatic leverage, we used President Trump himself to make sure that Nord Stream 2 did not come online when it was supposed to come online. We delayed it, and we were able to make sure that that wasn't coming to fruition. I'm very proud of that work. Now what we have is Joe Biden completely backing down and allowing the Russians to complete the pipeline.
Yeah, you wouldn't have heard that from Greenpeace or some of these other leftist organizations that President Trump was actually slowing one down, and Joe Biden flipped the switch and said, hey, yeah, go for it. Congressman, what's your perspective on how Joe Biden is treating Russia? Because, I don't know, for more than 4 years, all I could hear was Trump, 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 Russia, Russia, right. Russia. And it seems like the one who's actually coddling up and being, taking this approach of appeasement to Russia and Putin is Joe Biden.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned in your opener, in his first days in office, he cancels the pipeline. Russian-backed hackers attack our biggest pipeline in Colonial after he canceled Keystone. And now we're just going to let the Russians have their pipeline and give away the sanctions and get nothing in return. So really, whose side is Biden on? Because Trump, Rick Grenell, and Pompeo and the team took tough measures against Russia. You look at what they actually did compared to what Biden's actually doing. It's a complete giveaway, but it's part of a bigger picture, Jason, in that our adversaries right now smell weakness in the White House. And our adversaries, when they smell weakness, they push and they're emboldened. And under President Trump, they were deterred by strength. And that's what we're seeing from Hamas launching rockets on Israel, the Iranians on the march across the Middle East, the Russians now getting their pipeline completed for free and nothing in return. We are soon going to see the Taliban on the march. And as you mentioned, the Chinese are the greatest threat this country has ever faced. With a Navy that's larger than ours, with an economy that's on the verge of being bigger than ours, more launches into space than the rest of the world combined, and they're stealing our technology left, right, and center because they have Wall Street, our universities, and our politicians corrupt on Chinese money. This country, the number one job of the federal government is to keep us safe, and that's the last thing Joe Biden's doing right now.
Yeah, Ambassador, I got to tell you, I look at the way he handles China and I look at the other things. I think the congressman's right here. Peace through strength works. Donald Trump certainly proved that. President Reagan lived it and breathed it, and it worked. It's what the world understands is strength. But with China, I just don't think that Joe Biden knows how to negotiate anything. There's certainly nothing in his past that would suggest he knows how to actually negotiate something.
Well, this is why he's had this look over there strategy for 4 years. They've been telling us to look at Russia. Russia's clearly a problem, but China is a crisis. And yet, what did we see just weeks before the 2020 election? We were told by the Biden campaign not to look at Hunter Biden's laptop because it was Russian disinformation. Now, let's be very clear. That was a lie. That was wrong. That was politics. And yet, that was part of the look over there campaign. Don't pay attention to China. Everything that Joe Biden has been doing is exactly what the Chinese want him to do. Look over at Russia. Don't pay attention to us.
Congressman, what's your take on what's going on with Russia? With China, because they are on the march. They are going to expand. They are going to invest. And I think they know that Joe Biden, like you said, is weak and he's not willing to stand up for much.
Well, and don't take it from me or Rick. Listen to Chairman Xi, the leader of China's own words, where he is telling his military to prepare for war. He's talking openly about replacing the American dream with the China dream. And the thing is, we're funding this beast with our own money. Wall Street is corrupt, Disney, the NBA, Hollywood, politicians like Swalwell, because everybody is awash in Chinese money, but it's actually our money through the trade deficit, through the amount of money that they're raising on Wall Street, through the debt that the Chinese are financing that's flowing over there. And meanwhile, you have to understand the Chinese view of victory, right? They saw that we bankrupted the Soviet Union with Star Wars, where they couldn't afford to compete. Now China is bankrupting us with COVID, where we're spending our way into oblivion. But the irony is those stimulus checks are flowing right through Walmart and Amazon, right over into Chinese manufacturing. The money is flowing right over there. We have to bring our manufacturing back home. We have to reduce those dependencies. Made in the USA isn't just a labor issue. That's a national security issue. And the Biden is just asleep at the switch. And it could be because his family is on the take, too.
Gentlemen, thank you both for being here with us here on this beautiful Friday night. Congressman Waltz, thank you for your service in the United States military. Ambassador Grinnell, thank you to the service for your country as an ambassador and certainly your work as the acting director of national intelligence. Thank you both.